Many years ago, before the days of water elevators, a common type of elevator you'd find in bases was piston elevators. Among these, the champion of speed was this one. It traveled at 10 blocks per second, or more specifically, one piston fired off upwards, pushing you along with it every single tick. This design is so fast that in many versions of Minecraft it doesn't work. In fact, in this version, which is 1.16, it might not work depending on how laggy your game or server is. It almost didn't work there. However, when it does, it's a beauty. However, recently I have remembered a design which is significantly rarer, but which I think is actually cooler. And it is this unsightly little thing here. Now, Etho has made a similar design to this, which used staircases, I think. It is not exactly this design over here. This design, which only uses pistons, I've only ever seen it once. Exactly this design, only ever once, and that was in Top 5 Minecraft Creations, specifically the Piston episode. The number 5 creation was a piston house that featured this elevator. The player who made that creation was named El Agujero Negro 97, which in English translates to The Black Hole 97. Now, something else to note about this elevator is that it goes at half the speed of this elevator due to its nature. Both of them feature pistons that fire off at 1-tick intervals, but since this one only pushes you upwards, it goes at 10 blocks per second, whereas that one also pushes you sideways, which means that actually pistons that push you upwards fire off every 2 ticks, thus making you travel at 5 blocks per second. I personally think that this elevator is the single craziest elevator design ever made, at least for piston elevators, and I'll show you why. Yeah, that's why. Now, I should have added a dizziness warning, because on Reddit, quite a few people actually commented that, well, this design was dizzying. So, as compensation for all of you, I have made this little place where you have some benches on which you can sit and admire the growing bamboo, and if you really feel sick, there is a first aid room over here. I have been playing way too much OpenRCT2 recently. Now, a flaw in the design of this elevator is that, like the other elevator down below here, it is not 100% reliable. Sometimes, like when in previous times I tried to record this video, I would get stuck somewhere in the elevator. Sometimes even there was a recording where I got stuck over here and the elevator stopped pushing me. I believe, again, that this depends on the amount of lag on the map or on the server. But luckily, there is another way to go through the elevator, and that is by using it as a regular staircase. However, as you can see, it is quite inconvenient, so ideally you don't want this to fail on you. An other flaw with this elevator is, well, yeah. That's not ideal now, is it? Now, before I show you how to make this elevator, I must say that even though technically I came up with the redstone wiring over here, I don't exactly know why it works. See, years ago I tried to recreate this elevator before without success, and I encountered this issue too this weekend. I tried to recreate this elevator again, and that is quasi-connectivity among pistons. This thing. This piston is not being powered, and yet it's stuck in an extended position and will be so until a block update next to it shuts it down. This, as you can imagine, would make this quite annoying to use. But I had come up with a solution. As you can see down below, I had come up with a solution to fix this issue, but as I extended the height of the piston elevator from 20 blocks to 40 blocks, that solution, which was gravel towers with observers, stopped working. And so while trying to come up with a solution, I ended up compacting the design a bit into this redstone layout, and all of a sudden the bud switch issue, the quasi-connectivity, stopped happening. I don't exactly know why, but all the pistons shut down as they should. But hey, at least it works now, and the design is much simpler than the first prototype. Now, I won't exactly show you how to make this precise design because of what's down below, which is no longer needed. Instead, I will show you this slightly different version. There is no longer the dramatic waiting between that piston's extension and that one. It's instantaneous instead, but overall it should be better. When I mentioned lag, you just saw that. If you still want some dramatic launch first, like, you know, if you want to build up the hype before the piston elevator actually properly fires off, I guess you can try it by adding some more delay to the repeaters over here and over here, or maybe to try to find a way to add some extra repeaters like I did over there. The result could be something like this. Hey, look, the lag happened again. For now though, I'm just going to keep these repeaters at 1 tick. This design, as you can see here, actually fits in an 8x8 space, which is not that bad, especially for a design that can literally be built in beta 1.7, as since the original video came out 9 years ago, yes, this piston elevator was originally made and designed in beta 1.7. To start it, you want to have pistons in the middle over here. Let's say that the first piston is here. Let me get the proper blocks in. This is not what I should have gotten rid of. Place a piston here. We're going to place the button over here for the sake of it. You now want to create a sort of staircase with pistons. Nope, that's not the proper layout. There you go. Oopsie. I cannot Minecraft today. Yay. And yeah, I guess that should be good enough. Oh wow, that's actually exactly the same height as the other one. That's pretty cool. The second thing is you want to add pistons that will push you to the side. And now you want 1 block of a gap between the vertical piston and the horizontal piston. The next one goes over here, and now for these you want them to be spaced in terms of height 1 block off of each other, above from the previous one, like this. Now ideally, if you want another reference, between the horizontal pistons that are right on top of each other, you should have a gap of 3 blocks. And now we add the final one for here. There we go. This is the piston layout of this elevator. Now, here comes the fun part. You want to connect these. Now, the way I did it over here is, below this block, you want some redstone. Now, technically, you can just do this, and it's going to work. However, to make it easier to connect that redstone to this piston over here, I also add an extra redstone bit over here. However, now you need not a sandstone slab to cover this up. Still works. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to take this repeater, send the signal on top here, and then not here, but over here. Now, since there was a 1 tick delay already there, you should have this. There you go. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want, how did I do it here? Okay, yeah. You want to take up this signal, and now since you want this piston to fire 1 tick after this one, you want to add a 1 tick delay through this repeater. The result should be this. Perfect. Now, you next want to have this piston fire up 1 tick later. And so you add another repeater. There you go. Now up next, you want to repeat this for every level. And the way is you want to take this signal over here. Now because you're taking this piston signal over here and not that one, you want to add 2 ticks of delay, because you want the vertical pistons to fire off 2 ticks after each other, so that you have time to have these pistons push you to the side. Oops, that is not the correct piston, it is this one. There. Now, oopsie, that is not what I wanted to do. Seriously? Seriously, I got stuck in here? Oh, come on. Well, I guess that's a slight issue. Okay, this is good. Now you connect this one again with another tick of delay. And you test to make sure it works while placing yourself correctly. Normally, I wouldn't have this issue because that one is walled off. And I mean that one is completely walled off to prevent such issues from happening, but in this case, it's more open for you to see what exactly happens. Perfect. Now you want to repeat this for everything else. If you want to know specifically which piston to wire next to avoid the confusion I had over here, the general rule of thumb I like to use is, well, this piston is already wired, so the next vertical piston is here. Or rather, between the vertical pistons, which one is to the left and above the other. And so 2 ticks. And then this one with another tick of delay. And to make sure I've done correctly. Perfect. Now we just need to repeat this for every level again. And that should be it. So as you can see from the circuit itself, you're basically just connecting directly one piston after the other, so that they fire up one after the other. It's much simpler when you see it this way. It's really not that complicated. Another advantage of this design actually is that, as you can see, it does not use a single sticky piston. It only uses regular pistons. Now for the final test to see if this works, I position myself correctly and we get the lag over again! Hey! But hey, at least it works. Let's try it again for good measure. I really don't get why that lag happens, specifically in these designs, as in the recording you saw that it did not happen here. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, it's just, it seems like the game just momentarily freezes your position and then catches up. And that is how you build this piston elevator. Have fun building it for yourself, have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching. Note for next time, while recording, I should use a more silent keyboard. This Unicomp is pretty loud.